Sometimes the truth stings because it shatters the illusions we hold dear. Friedrich Nietzsche hit that nail on the head. You've been fed a story your whole life that love is this pure, magical force, that the right woman will swoop in, mend your broken pieces, and make everything okay. From fairy tales to chart-topping songs, it's been drilled into you. Love is your salvation. You bought it, not because you're weak or naive, but because no one gave you the tools to see through the lie. What if that promise of love was never meant to hold? What if the love you're chasing isn't about saving you, but about strategy? And what if nature, that raw, unfiltered force we're taught to romanticize or fear, saw it all coming? Nature doesn't write fairy tales. Nietzsche didn't mince words. His ideas cut like a knife, slicing through the masks we wear, the myths we cling to, and the emotional bubbles we build to shield our egos. When he looked at love, women, and how we connect, he didn't see a pretty picture. It wasn't polite, but it was real. Most of us, especially men, still aren't ready to hear it. Here's the raw deal: you don't love her. You love the version of her that reflects who you wish you were. You love how she makes you feel seen, like you're enough. But that feeling, it's not love, it's validation. What you call love might just be a carefully crafted illusion keeping you emotionally hooked. Women, throughout history, had to find power in a world that pushed them to the sidelines. They weren't handed swords or thrones, so they mastered silence. They weren't given control, so they learned influence, not because they're sneaky, but because they had to play the game from the shadows while men took the spotlight. And that's where so many guys today miss the mark. You see her softness and think it's innocence. You see her adaptability and call it fragility. You think her love is unconditional, her tenderness pure. It's not. It's power-honed, practiced, and delivered with precision. While you're spilling your heart, thinking it's vulnerability, she's reading every cue you give. While you're dreaming of soulmates, she's weighing the cost of letting you in, balancing need against control, desire against influence, not out of malice, but instinct. She learned early that the one who sees the game without calling it out holds the upper hand. Though you were raised to put her on a pedestal so high it blinds you to the strategy. You don't see it because you don't want to. You'd rather cling to the dream, the muse, the perfect girl, the healer. But what if those are just roles she's playing? Masks she's learned to wear because they work. Nietzsche didn't call this out to tear women down. He did it to expose the stories men tell themselves about women. As long as you believe she's naturally more moral, that her affection has no strings, you're handing over your power for a shot at emotional security. She'll take that power, not because she's out to get you, but because the system taught her how to use it. You're not being loved, you're being managed. And the wildest part, you're okay with it. You like the comfort, the worship, the emotional high that lets you dodge your own demons. Because if you stop needing her to be your savior, you'll have to face what's driving that need. That's not heartbreak. That's the real terror. Fear's sneaky. It loves to dress up as romantic devotion. You think you're loving her with your whole heart, giving freely, but dig deeper. You're bargaining, saying, "Here's my heart. Fix the parts of me I can't face." You're not looking for a partner. You're looking for a solution. While you're handing over your soul for comfort, she's listening not just to your words, but to what you're not saying. Every vulnerability you share becomes a roadmap to your emotional triggers. She learns fast, not to hurt you, but to make herself essential in your world. Nietzsche saw this clearly. He saw that what we call love is often a quiet battle for emotional territory. Who sets the pace of intimacy? Who pulls back first? Who holds out longest? These aren't questions of affection, they're power plays. The hard truth, the one who needs less has the upper hand. You give her everything. Time, attention, identity. You call it being real. She gives you just enough to keep you hooked. She calls it connection. But it's not connection. It's a dance, perfectly choreographed. Society taught women to influence without looking like they're leading, and men to submit while thinking they're in charge. This isn't her fault or yours. It's centuries of conditioning men ruling the outer world, women mastering the inner one. Now, in modern relationships, you walk into the trap, grinning. She doesn't need to argue. A suggestion is enough. She doesn't need to demand. Desire does the job. Just like that. She shapes you, your choices, your identity without raising her voice. That's not manipulation. That's mastery. You call her mysterious because you don't get her. You don't get her because you've never questioned the myths you've bought into. You think love is about becoming one. She knows it's about leverage. When she pulls away, it wrecks you, not because she's gone, but because you lost the version of yourself. She reflected back. Nietzsche would say you didn't love her. You loved how she made you feel about yourself. She was the stage where you proved your worth. Now the stage is empty, and you're left with silence and truth. She didn't trick you. She just stopped playing the role you cast her in. You didn't see her. You saw your fantasy of her. When she stopped acting it out, you called her cold, cruel. But maybe the real betrayal was yours, for loving an idea and expecting her to live up to it. Nietzsche wasn't dragging women. He was calling out men who refuse to grow up. Men who want muses instead of mirrors, angels instead of real, complex humans. If you're ready to stop pointing fingers at her, you're ready to look at yourself, not with guilt or shame, but with clear eyes. That's where something new begins, not the death of love, but a chance to redefine it. You've been told love is the ultimate virtue, that giving yourself completely makes you a good man. But what if that selflessness is just a cover for needing her too much? What if, under the grand gestures, there's a quiet fear whispering, if I don't give everything, she'll leave. So you give more, compromise more, chip away at yourself to be what you think she wants. That's not love. It's fear dressed as romance. While you're convincing yourself you're noble, she's picking up on something else control, not through demands, but through your need to keep her close. Nietzsche hinted at a tough truth. Love rooted in need is never balanced. She might not ask you to reshape yourself, but you do it anyway. She might not demand loyalty, but you give it anyway. Why? Because you've bought the lie that her acceptance makes you whole. But she didn't sign up to be your savior. She was just being herself. You turned her into a mirror for your worth. When that mirror breaks, it's not just loss, it's collapse. Because you weren't protecting love. You were protecting a story. A story that says, if she loves me, I'm enough. If she stays, I'm worthy. Stories aren't reality. When truth creeps in, you call it betrayal. Nietzsche would call it waking up. The lie isn't that she has power, it's that you didn't see it. You called her gentle, but she was observant. You called her caring, but she was strategic. You thought she was giving in, but she was choosing, always choosing. Because she gets something you've been slow to grasp. The one who reads the room holds the reins. Now the illusion is cracking. You're replaying moments her smile. Warm, but with a calculating flicker. The way she knew your mood before you spoke. You thought she was intuitive. And she is. But for her, intuition is survival. It's how she stays ahead in a world that never gave her power to demand, only to shape. This isn't about blame, it's about reality. We're sold love as mutual surrender, but it's practiced as mutual leverage. Vulnerability is marketed as noble, but used as currency. You hand over your soft spots, thinking it's trust. She takes note, not to hurt you, but to know your weaknesses. When you see this, you've got two paths. Most guys break. They dive back into the myth, hunting another muse to play emotional savior. They say, this time it'll be different. It won't. The script's the same, only the faces change. Until you stop needing her to fill that role, you'll never see the person behind it. But there's another path. What happens when you let the mask drop? When you stop chasing fairy tale roles and face reality? You see what's been there all along. Not malice, but instinct. A woman denied the power men were handed, mastered the relational game instead. Not to dominate you, but because it's the only power she's been allowed. So don't ask if she's ready to love you the way you want. Ask if you're ready to see her without the rose-colored glasses. Only then can you see yourself clearly. That's when love stops being a bedtime story and becomes revolutionary. Let's get real. You've been taught to chase idealized love selfless, all giving, the kind that completes you. But that's a trap. Pouring yourself out isn't noble. It's neediness in disguise. You're not giving because you're strong. You're giving because you're scared she'll walk away. So you bend, dim parts of yourself to keep her smiling. You call it compromise. But it's submission wrapped in a love song. While you're orbiting her approval, she's not forcing you. She's just letting your need do the work. Love tied to need is never a fair fight. You've made her acceptance your lifeline, but she didn't ask to be that. You turned her into the yardstick for your worth. When she pulls back, you don't just feel hurt. You feel like you're falling apart, because it wasn't love you were holding on to. It was the story you built around her. The betrayal isn't hers for not being your fantasy. It's yours for expecting her to live in it. The alternative: see her for who she is, not who you need her to be. She's not your healer or muse. She's a person, navigating a world that taught her to play her cards close. Her smiles, silences, perfectly timed gestures. They're not just sweetness. They're tools, sharpened by a lifetime of influencing without authority. That's not a dig. It's the game she's been dealt. Women have mastered suggestion because outright power wasn't an option. She doesn't need to raise her voice to shift your world. She just needs to know what makes you tick. And she does. Because you've shown her every time you lean into her for validation. Stop chasing the myth. Stop looking for the one who'll make it all okay. Start asking why you needed a savior in the first place. That's not about blaming her or yourself. It's about clarity. Clarity means seeing the dynamic you thought her love was unity, but she's playing for leverage. You thought her warmth was surrender, but it was strategy. When she pulls away, it's not heartlessness. It's her refusing to carry your expectations. Nietzsche wasn't out to make you hate women. He wanted you to question the stories keeping you soft, chasing, handing over power for emotional comfort. The truth is, she's not your enemy. The enemy is the illusion you've both been sold. So look at yourself. Why do you need her to make you feel whole? What's behind that hunger for her approval? When you dig into those questions, you're not just breaking the illusion, you're building something new. That something new isn't the end of love. It's a different kind. One where you don't need her to be your mirror or savior. One where you show up whole, not needing her to fix you. That's scary. It means facing the insecurities and gaps you thought her love would fill. But the payoff, you stop bargaining with your heart. You stop handing over your power to feel okay. When you show up like that, she's not your muse, she's a person with her own moves, fears, and strategies. That's when love stops being a transaction, about who controls or needs who. It becomes two people seeing each other clearly, without masks. That's not the love sold in songs. It's better. It's real. So where do you go from here? The real work starts when you stop playing by the old rules. Nietzsche didn't just expose illusions, he challenged you to build something stronger. Start by owning your worth, not because she stays, but because you know who you are. That's brutal work, facing insecurities, asking why you need her to feel enough, and not flinching at the answers. It's not about going lone wolf, it's about showing up whole, not a puzzle missing a piece. When you do, you're not begging for affection or bending to keep her happy. You're offering yourself, not a performance. She's not the villain. She's navigating a world that taught her to wield influence because raw power wasn't an option. Her perfectly timed words. Her way of knowing what you need. That's not deceit, it's survival. Honed over centuries of being told to stay in the background. When you see her strategy, you stop resenting it, you respect it. Not as cute, but as strength. She's been playing with half the deck and still coming out ahead. The question isn't whether she's manipulating you, it's whether you're ready to meet her as an equal, without myths clouding your view. Let go of the pedestal. She's not here to fix you or live in your fantasy, she's a person, with her own battles. When you see that, you stop asking her to play a role and start seeing her. When you both drop the masks, love stops being about leverage or control. It becomes about choosing each other, not because you have to, but because you want to. That's messier, tougher, but so much more real. Here's how you get there. First, stop romanticizing neediness. Pouring your heart out isn't love. It's dependency dressed as devotion. Real love doesn't need you to erase yourself or orbit her approval. It asks you to show up as you are, trusting she'll do the same. Second, question the stories. When you think, if she loves me, I'm enough. Pause. That's conditioning, not truth. You're enough because you're here, growing, fighting for clarity. Her love doesn't define you, it's just part of your story. Third, embrace the discomfort. Seeing love's strategy and power feels like a gut punch. It's tempting to run back to the myths, but growth lives in the tension. Stay there. Ask, what are you afraid of losing? What are you chasing? Finally, redefine power. You've been taught power in love is about who gives more. Real power is balance, knowing you can walk away if you need to, not because you want to, but because you're whole on your own. When you bring that, you're not a player in her game, you're a partner. Nietzsche wasn't tearing down love, he was tearing down lies keeping us stuck. He saw love as raw, complicated, full of hidden currents. He didn't want you to stop loving. He wanted you to stop lying about what love is. This is a call to wake up, see the game, and choose something better. Not a love that saves you, but one that challenges you. Not one that completes you, but one that meets you where you are. When you live that way, you stop seeing her as a mystery or prize. You see her as a person, navigating the same broken systems and pressures. You stop asking her to carry your worth and start sharing the load of being human together. That's the revolution Nietzsche pointed to, not a war between men and women, but a rebellion against stories keeping us blind. When you let go of illusions, you don't lose love, you find it. The real kind, built on truth, not masks. Take one step today. Maybe it's asking yourself why you need her to stay. Maybe it's a real talk with her, not about love, but about who you both are. Maybe it's sitting with the discomfort of knowing the game exists and choosing not to play it. Whatever it is, make it real. The world's full of people chasing illusions. You're better than that. You're ready to see things as they are, not as you wish they were. When you do, you're not just changing your love life, you're changing yourself. So, what do you think? Did this hit home? Did it make you rethink how you see love, power, or even yourself? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. What's one illusion about love you're ready to let go of? What truth are you starting to see? If this spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and join the community of people done with fairy tales and hungry for something real. This isn't just a video, it's a movement. Let's keep it going. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next one.